Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? Today we're looking at how Spotify turned the music streaming world upside down in 2025. They didn't just survive, they thrived. We've got an awesome report from Impact Solutions breaking it all down. Their business insights are always spot on. Get this, Spotify pulled in over 4 billion euros in revenue. It's mind-blowing.
It really is. And what makes it even more impressive is they actually turned a profit for the first time ever. Impact Solutions really hit the nail on the head when they talk about needing a solid strategy for success. Spotify definitely figured something out.
Yeah, no kidding. But what really caught my eye? That price hike they rolled out this year, I was sure they'd lose a ton of subscribers. Who wants to pay more, right?
Yeah.
But their churn rate stayed super low.
Right, that's the thing. Spotify's been smart about adding value. Personalization features, exclusive podcasts. They've even been refining their algorithms. It's like Tax Solutions always says you got to give people something tangible, something that makes them feel like they're getting a premium experience.
Makes sense. And it looks like it's working because they just hit a record 675 million monthly active users. That's insane. And over 260 million paid subscribers, too.
Yeah, those numbers are through the roof, especially when you think about all the competition they're facing from Apple Music and all the others. Clearly, Spotify's got a knack for keeping people hooked.
And they're not planning on slowing down anytime soon. Their predictions for the first quarter of 2026 are all about growth, more users, the whole shebang.
That's that long-term vision, you know. Impact Solutions helps companies map that out all the time, and Spotify seems to be on the right track.
Oh, and one more thing that jumped out at me. Their gross margin shot up to over 32%.
Yeah, that's huge. It means they're getting more efficient, more profitable on each subscriber, and that gives them more resources to reinvest. Think about it, new features, even more exclusive content. Maybe they'll start acquiring other companies.
That's a pretty sweet spot to be in.
Yeah.
So they're raking in the cash, growing like crazy. But what does this all mean for regular listeners?
Well, I think it shows Spotify's commitment to creating a better experience, more personalized, more engaging, all of that, and they're willing to invest in making it happen. You know, Impact Solutions always emphasizes putting the customer first, and Spotify seems to be doing just that. Actually, you know what? If anyone's interested in learning more about Impact Solutions and their work, you can check out their website. It's www.lokitools.net. They've got some really insightful stuff on how companies can achieve sustainable growth.
Definitely worth a look.
Yeah.
But back to Spotify, it seems like they've found this magic formula for keeping users happy. They're using algorithms and data, but are they maybe relying on it too much? What happens if user preferences change? Or someone comes up with a better algorithm?
That's a good question. It's like they're walking a tightrope, right?
Yeah.
Using technology to make things better, but also trying to make sure that the human element doesn't get lost.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, it's all about the music.
Right.
That's what keeps us coming back. And Spotify seems to get that. They're blending technology and artistry in a way that really works. And you know what? We're going to dive deeper into that in part 2, specifically their strategy with exclusive podcasts.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other level. It's changing the game for sure.
Stay tuned for more.
Welcome back.
So last time we were talking about all the money Spotify is making and how they managed to raise prices without scaring everyone off.
Exactly. And a big part of that, like Impact Solutions always says, is giving people real value.
Right. It's not just about having a ton of songs anymore. It's about making it feel personalized, like it's made for you.
That's it. And Spotify's been nailing it. Think about Discover Weekly, those curated radio stations, even their podcast recommendations. It's all powered by algorithms, constantly getting tweaked to figure out what you want.
It's almost like having a mind reader as your DJ, which I gotta admit can be a little creepy sometimes. But it's super addictive, too.
Yeah, it's a fine line, isn't it? They have to use all that data, but also respect people's privacy.
Spotify's doing a pretty good job so far, though.
Definitely. And speaking of giving people what they want, let's talk about their exclusive content. We touched on it a bit before, but it's a big deal.
Huge. Those podcast deals, like the one where they mentioned a popular podcast that aligns with the listener's interests, are bringing in a lot of subscribers. They're building this whole ecosystem of audio that you can't find anywhere else.
It's like their own little world of podcasts and music.
And you know what? That's something Impact Solutions talks about a lot, building a community around your product. It's about making people feel like they belong, like they're part of something.
So it's not just about giving them what they want. It's about making them feel connected to something bigger.
Right. And that makes people stick around. They're less likely to switch to a competitor, even if it's a bit cheaper.
Makes sense. So do you think other streaming services are going to try to copy Spotify's strategy? Oh, absolutely. Spotify's set a new standard. If other companies want to keep up, they'll have to step up their game. We're going to see a lot more focus on personalization, exclusive content, that whole community vibe.
So the streaming wars are getting even hotter.
They are, but hey, it's good for us listeners.
Totally. More competition means more innovation, more cool stuff to listen to.
Exactly. It's a good time to be a music fan.
And it's pretty amazing to see how Spotify is driving all these changes.
It really is. Their success is a testament to thinking strategically, putting the customer first, and always pushing for something new.
And hey, if anyone out there is interested in learning more about these kinds of strategies, I definitely recommend checking out L Impact Solutions. Their website is www.lokitools.net. They've got a ton of resources on business growth and all that good stuff.
Definitely worth a look.
All right, so that wraps up part 2 of our deep dive into Spotify's crazy year.
We've covered their financial wins, their focus on personalization, and how they're changing the game with exclusive content.
And in part 3, we're going to zoom out even further. We'll look at what Spotify's success means for artists, for record labels, for the whole future of how we listen to music.
It's a big topic with a lot of moving parts.
But we're going to break it all down in our final installment.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the show. We've spent the last 2 parts looking at Spotify's amazing 2025. They're making money, growing their user base, and really shaking things up.
Yeah.
But now I want to zoom out a bit. What does Spotify's success mean for the whole music industry?
Well, that's a great question. And honestly, it's one that's causing a lot of debate right now. Spotify's whole model is built around streaming. All the revenue goes into one big pot, and then it gets split up based on how many streams each artist gets. Some people say it's way fairer than those old record deals, but others think it actually undervalues the music and makes it harder for artists to make a living.
It's a tough one for sure. But one thing's for certain. Spotify has completely changed the balance of power in the music industry. Artists can connect directly with fans now. They don't need radio stations or record labels to get their music out there.
Absolutely. And that's something L Impact Solutions talks about a lot, giving people more access, breaking down those traditional barriers. But like you said, it's a double-edged sword. It's amazing for creative freedom. But now artists are competing with millions of others on a global stage.
It's a whole new ballgame.
Yeah.
So how are artists and labels adapting to this new reality? Are we seeing more independent artists? Or are labels finding ways to make streaming work for them?
Well, we're seeing a bit of both, actually. Independent artists are thriving in this environment. They can use Spotify to build a following and connect with fans directly. But labels are also figuring things out. They're putting more emphasis on developing artists and marketing them in a way that works for streaming platforms.
So basically, the whole industry is scrambling to catch up. Everyone's trying to figure out how to make it in this streaming-first world.
Yep. And while there are challenges, there are also huge opportunities. This shift could actually make the music industry more democratic, more accessible and rewarding for both artists and fans. Think about it. Now you can have niche genres and artists from all over the world. They have a global platform to share their music and connect with people who might never have heard of them otherwise.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. I wonder what the future holds. Will we see totally new ways of doing business in music? Will streaming eventually take over completely from album sales and all that?
Those are the million-dollar questions, right? It's hard to say for sure, but Spotify's success is a pretty good sign that streaming is here to stay. The real question is how everyone else adapts, and what kind of innovations will pop up to make the whole system more sustainable and fair for everyone involved.
As listeners, it's kind of cool to be a part of this whole thing. We have access to more music than ever before, and our listening choices actually have a real impact on how the industry evolves.
That's a great point, and it's something that L Impact Solutions encourages businesses to think about all the time, the power of individual choices. If you're interested in learning more about that kind of stuff, their website's a great resource. It's www.lokitools.net. They've got tons of insights and strategies that apply to all kinds of businesses, not just music.
Awesome. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Spotify's wild ride in 2025. We covered their finances, their strategies, and what it all means for the future of music.
It's been a fascinating journey, and I think the biggest takeaway is that the music industry is changing faster than ever. Spotify is leading the way, but it's up to all of us, artists, labels, listeners, to shape what comes next.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Spotify. Keep exploring, keep listening, and stay curious about the future of music. We'll see you next time.